Donald Trump is not messing around. And I think he may be the only person in politics, and I mean this, actually standing up to the mob. Okay, that's not fair. Tom Cotton is too. Tom Cotton said we can't allow these statues to be torn down. But Donald Trump has been spitting some fire on this stuff. Now, I got to say, I'm a little disappointed. Hank Newsom, I've actually praised him many times because while I disagree on certain issues, I think he's overall, he's a good dude. He's the guy who went to it was a Trump rally and they invited him up on a stage to speak and he did. And everyone cheered for him because in the end, when you have these conversations, you realize we're all kind of after the same things, maybe in different ways. We want to make our lives better. We want our children's lives to be better. And when he mentioned that he's just anti-bad cop, not anti-cop, people started to agree with him. They had a good conversation. I really liked it. I've also seen him, talk about some of his ideas that I actually really respect. But I'm not happy about what he said here. He said something to the effect of, if they don't give us what we want, we will burn the system down and make our own. Trump responded saying it's treason, sedition, and insurrection. Well, it's literally not treason. Treason is providing aid to an enemy of the United States. But if you want to call it sedition or insurrection, yeah, maybe. You have no right to threaten people with burning down anything. You are, dare I say, this is getting on the border of terrorism. Listen, I like Hank, okay? But this is a step too far. When you have mass riots across the country, then someone, a leader of the Black Lives Matter movement, gets on TV and says, you give us what we want or we will burn it all down. That's a threat. I'm sorry, man. We can't operate this way. And I'll tell you what, you threaten me, I shut down negotiations immediately. Don't you bring that into my house. I want to make sure you guys get taken care of. I want to make sure that you have your rights. I want to hold these cops accountable. But when you threaten me, you threaten my house, my family, my friends, my community, my city, my state, my country. Nah, we're done. We're done. You're out. I won't tolerate that. Me personally, no. So I'm very disappointed that he would say something like this. You're not going to burn down anything. Absolutely not. We're gonna talk about these problems. And I'm someone who's like, let's fix them. Let's fix them. Let's police reform. I like some of these reforms they're implementing. Notably in Colorado, they said that if a cop violates someone's civil rights, they're liable for up to $25,000. Oh, bring it on. You want to illegally search me in my vehicle? I'm going to turn that camera on because I could go for a $25K payday. Now, don't violate people's rights. What's that? Hold on a minute. Didn't all these cops just violate constitutional rights under the governor's mandates? Oh, man, what's that? You want to come and shut my business down? Let's take it to court, baby, because I could use $25K, right? Plus legal fees. But anyway, let's read this story and see what Donald Trump's on about. They say Hank Newsom spoke to Fox News on Wednesday night and was asked about his June 3rd interview with Daily Mail. In the interview with the Daily Mail, he said that the Black Rights Group is mobilizing its base and aims to develop highly trained military arm to challenge police brutality head on. Newsom was asked about those comments on Fox News. Here's what he said. If this country doesn't give us what we want, then we will burn down this system and replace it. Nah, sorry, bro. That's a threat. You can't do that. And I could be speaking figuratively. I could be speaking literally. It's a matter of interpretation. All right. If you want to put it that way, I'm going to go ahead and interpret that as a terroristic statement. Nah, I'm not going to sit here and accept these statements. Look, man, I've had respect for you, Hank, for a lot of the things you've said and done in the past. I think you've done some good things, but this is crossing a line. Now, I am just a dude on the internet complaining, first and foremost. And I'm also very forgiving, trusting, and tolerant. So I'm just hoping that Hank will step back from this and say, we're not going to burn things down, okay? If you want to say you want to burn it down, then say I'm speaking metaphorically. Like we're going to go in, we're going to vote, we're going to make these changes, we're going to vote you out, we're going to take your jobs, and we're going to put in people who get the job done. I'd respect that. You could say, we will engage in such a mass civil disobedience, you will not be able to move. I can respect that too. You want to jam up the system? You want to block the roads? I believe that is the appropriate line. Now, you get arrested for it. It's one of those challenging things talking about civil disobedience because some of these things you can do cross the line into criminal territory, but it's very petty. The cops arrest you. They just don't charge you with anything. They'll let you go. You block a roadway. They take you out and they send you on your way. And that I find respectable. You cause a disruption. You get attention, and we know statistically it works because it generates positive conversations. You get the attention you're looking for. It's called civil disobedience. Now, the violent stuff, the gun stuff, the going around and beating people stuff, no. The tearing down statues, absolutely not. Do not threaten me. I will not negotiate. Trump on Thursday hit back, calling his marks treason, sedition, and insurrection. Racial tension has exploded. We know why. They always do this. Hundreds of thousands of protesters have taken to the streets from cities coast to coast, calling for police reforms. But the protests, largely peaceful, have sometimes turned violent with looting and arson. We can see a bunch of these photos. The protests have also targeted monuments. Okay, so we get it. But check it out. Trump is not just talking about what's going on with, Hank Newsom's statement. Trump personally ordered the statue of Confederate soldier Albert Pike to be put back up in D.C. after it was torn down by protesters on Juneteenth. Wow. Let me tell you something. I believe these Confederate statues should all come down. Every single one of them. Okay, maybe not every single one, because I don't know what that context could be. Maybe there's like a good one, or there's one that actually, is important for certain reasons. Many of these statues I don't care for. I don't care for the Confederacy. I think that we are the Union and we are the descendants of those who won. Whether you are from the South or from the North, the Union won. And let me tell you something. They talk about reparations. We're the Union, okay? The Confederacy lost. By all means, you want reparations? You know what? I'll tell you this. I'm 100% in favor of reparations. Yeah. By all means, go to the Confederacy, ask them for what they owe you, and then we'll sit back and wait and see if you get a response. The Union soldiers, the abolitionists, fought and won. The South was defeated. You're not getting reparations from the people who already sacrificed their lives. It makes no sense. So I'll tell you what. The Confederate statues, in my opinion, should come down. However, I don't believe violent mobs should be going and tearing them down. And they complain, but Tim, we've tried to vote to have them removed, but nobody will ever vote to remove them. Yeah, welcome to how a democratic institution works. If you vote and everyone says keep the statue, then you keep the statue. So I'd like to see the statues come down, but you know what? I am happy that Donald Trump put it back 100%. As much as I think they're gross statues, I don't like them. The history of them, in my opinion, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I'm not a fan, but you know what? You do not have the right to destroy statues without due process, without talking to the people, without voting on these things. And they say, but we shouldn't have to walk past statues of, slavers and things like this. I agree with you. I don't like these things. Put them in a museum. I mean it. We should set up a museum, show people what happened, why it happened, and we could put a plaque in its place and say this site commemorates, the Union victory over the South, blah, blah, blah. There once stood a statue of a Confederate soldier that was removed by vote by the community who said X, Y, and Z, A, B, and C. We will not be ruled by the mob. We will not bend the knee to those who simply want to destroy without giving reason. And I'll tell you this, the reason they claim for tearing this down is just not real, because they're also tearing down abolitionists. Now, I know they're not all the same people. It's various states and cities. But you know what? Donald Trump did the right thing on this one. If the baby wants to destroy things and have a temper tantrum, well, then you put the baby in timeout. You think you won by tearing down the statue? No, you violated our norms. You violated the rule of law. I am standing here saying I will advocate for the removal of the statue, but not when you come with ropes and tear it down without talking to the people, without educating the people, without asking the people what they think. You are not the supreme moral authority on any of this. Now, I will agree on principle about the statues coming down, but I do not have the right to assert my moral authority over anyone else. But these people are authoritarians. They have decided that the moral superiority is theirs and they can do whatever they want. So I see this. Trump personally ordered the statue to be put back. Good. Let this be a lesson, this whole segment, to people who would threaten us with terrorism. That is not how we get things done. All you want to do is destabilize and destroy. I'm not having it. Hank, I think, for the most part, still like the guy. I do. And I'm very tolerant of people. I'm not talking about race or gender. I'm talking about people and their character. I want to see Hank do better. I want to see him walk these things back and say, we believe in peaceful discourse. We believe in the right to defend ourselves. And I think him saying they're going to have their own people trained and armed, I'm totally for it. 100%. You have a right to bear arms in this country. You have a Second Amendment. And you know what? If I want my rights, that means you get your rights all the same. So if you want to have your people marching armed, here. That's the way the Constitution works. And you know what? I'm going to respect that. But if you want to then come out and say you're going to burn down our cities, our system, our statues, nowhere does it say you can, okay? Now, some might argue that in some quotes, they say, when a government becomes destructive to these ends, it is the right of the people to abolish, replace, etc. You know the quote. But I'll tell you what, man, it's not. It is not destructive. This country is it's the shining city on the hill. It is a beacon of goodness and freedom and civil liberties and rights. And I know that firsthand, coming from my family and what my family dealt with. So I will not sit here after the struggles that people have fought and have you come and destroy everything, because let me remind you once again, you are standing on the ground of the victors. The Union won. The people you're mad at lost. Got smacked down hard. And people on the North, the Union side, sacrificed their lives. Let me tell you something else. You are standing on the ground of the victors of the civil rights movement, Loving v. Virginia, and all of those policies and rules that came afterwards that allowed my family to strive, to succeed, where they were held back, oppressed, and attacked. And I know my experience is not going to be the same as people like Hank. But these white progressive suburbanite people who want to destroy the system that allowed my family to finally make it, I will not stand for it. Your terroristic threats will not stand, and I will not negotiate. Let's get back to let's get back to the table. Sit down. And I got news for you. If you can't convince people to vote to remove these statues, then you have not done a good enough job communicating and convincing people. We are not a country where you can gain your political power through the barrel of a gun. Perhaps we used to be, but guess what? You are standing on the ground controlled by the victors, the people who shut those things down 200 years ago, 300 years ago, colonization, all those things you really hate, right? Guess what? An idea was born that all people are equal. Not initially, but over time, the courts ruled it. Guess what? Today, victory is already in your hands. So don't burn it down because you're mad you want more. No, we keep fighting to make things better. These people want to send us back to the dark ages, and I won't stand for it. I got one more segment coming up in a few minutes. I will see you all shortly.